It's Friday, holy day, everybody. Islam, peace, and blessings. Sitting at the park, barbecuing a little bit. Just a small barbecue at the park. I think I want to talk about common sense, religion, and Freemasonry. Let's go into that. Okay, first and foremost, the public schooling system in the United States teaches the people who forced to go to public school, like myself, to stop using common sense. They put you in a box saying, if this not the way you got to it, the way you got to it isn't correct. You got to use this method. They turn you into a robot. So when you come out the robotic stage and get to thinking for yourself and become a free thinker, let's go into the science of religion. Religion as what we say religion is, right? Religion is politics, civics, science, spirituality, laws of war, laws of marriage, family matters, everything. That's religion. From the Torah on up to the Quran. And the Quran, Allah said He sent down 5 books for the civilization of mankind on earth. The book of Abraham, the books of Moses, the Psalms of David, the Injil, which is the gospel of Jesus, and the Quran. Those are the 5 books He sent down. So instead of everybody just reading all the books, they pick which book they want to read, even Muslims, because Muslims know this better than anybody. If you don't understand the Quran, go read the rest of the books Allah say He sent down. Because you got imams, sheiks, teaching people in the Quran when it says, we made angels, we made man, that Allah speaking to Himself in plural. That's absolutely impossible. Allah is one. There's only one true God. Whatever name you choose to use for Him in whatever language. When it says we in the Quran, it's talking about Elohim. Elohim created everything that ever was, is, and ever more to be. Only thing Allah made was you on the 7th day, a living soul. It's 7 days in the creation, not 6. But let's walk through the science of religion. There's 7 covenants in the Bible, right? To be considered civilized under the family of nations, you have to walk through all 7 covenants. And that's actually one of the purposes of Freemasonry. They walk you through all 7 covenants in the Bible. You got the Edenic covenant, you got the Adamic covenant, you got the Noahide covenant, the Abrahamic covenant, the Mosaic covenant, the Davidic covenant, and the New covenant. So now once you walk through the Bible and you reach your 32nd degree, you don't walk through the Bible. Now you eligible to become Rosicrucian, Shriner, or even go into Islam. But you're not eligible for the 33rd degree yet, because that's the political degree. That's the degree of justice. That's the Jesus degree for real. But after you walk through those 7 covenants in the Bible, then you go into the Quran. Because if you don't notice, the Quran specifies believers. O ye who believe. By the time you walk through the 7 covenants in the Bible, because Allah said He sent down the book of Abraham, the books of Moses, the Psalms of okay, so you got to walk through the Bible, evidently. That's why people, religious teachers, I don't care if you're a pastor, rabbi, card, whatever label you want to put on yourself, if you haven't walked through that whole Bible, you just still beginning. That's why most pastors, when you go into church, they jump around. They might start off in Genesis, then go to book 10, then go to book 20, then go to book 50, because there's 66 books in the Bible. They just be all over the place. I've never seen a pastor walk their congregation from Genesis 1 to the end of Revelations. And honestly, if you can't do that, I don't think you should be teaching religion. Because you just guessing also, for real, for real. You went to a state-sponsored school, even though in the United States, separation of church and state is absolute. But you go to a state-sponsored school to get licensed by the state to teach religion, then go become a 501c3 with the state, and you got to report to the state annually. Now, even though the separation of church and state is absolute, the state don't have to report to the churches. The churches have to report to the states. They don't know that make no sense. Make that make sense. It makes absolutely no sense. The state taught you how to teach religion. Knock it off. But I might meet a pastor like that one day, imam, a rabbi, cardinal. And another thing I have a problem with? Let's talk about this throne of Peter thing. Okay, in the Bible, Jesus had 12 disciples. Everybody done read the Bible. Whether it's the Ethiopian Coptic Bible, which has the most books, the Catholic Bible, which has more books also, or the Bible they give out over here in America, which has 66 books. You done read somebody's Bible. Jesus had 12 disciples, right? None of them was appointed no monarch or king. Not in the Bible. But the Romans say they sit on the throne of Peter, the man who denied Jesus 3 times. So Jesus done made this man a king that denied him 3 times over all his other disciples. But that's not written nowhere in history. Make that make sense. Please make that make sense, because I'm trying to figure that part out too. And then they talk about anti-Semitism. Let's make this make sense. The Semitic people, right, are the indigenous people of Canaan, the Holy Lands. Those are the Jebusites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Moabites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, and the Hamathites. Now, once the children of Israel were released from Egyptian captivity, they ran into the Holy Land because the Lord gave them permission to. And they chased all the indigenous inhabitants out and enslaved everybody else. So when you get to talk about anti-Semitic, that don't refer to Jewish people. The 13 children of Israel were the Jews. Okay. When you get to talking about anti-Semitism, you talking about the descendants of the ancient Moabites, the Canaanites, the Hamathites, and the original inhabitants of the Holy Lands. That's anti-Semitism. They just throwing labels on everything and using it to get different people they money that's promoting what they want to promote. And no, we ain't going to do that. And it don't make no sense anyway. Now let's go back to the Bible. When you go into the laws of Moses, right, the Mosaic laws, those laws are what governs the United States today. Right now today, the United States is governed by Roman civil law. The books of Moses. That's why after 7 years, your debt is expunged. You got to have 2 or more witnesses to get convicted in jail. It says in Deuteronomy 19, I don't know if it's 15 or 23, the Moabites can never be citizens with the children of Israel forever, perpetually. That's why the Moorish government over here and the U.S. government is separate and equal. There's 2 federal governments in the United States. That's what they're not telling everybody. The federal government that everybody knows about, and the real federal government, the Moorish government. And then you walk through even the book of Judges. The book of Judges is real specific. In the Bible, the only nation of people, out of all the nations mentioned in the Bible, the only nation of people that said, we don't want a king that we can't see. We want a king that we can see. They didn't want God to be their king. They didn't want Allah to be their king. The children of Israel said that. So they were appointed judges. Read the book of Judges. When you go into court, judges are only over the children of Israel. But you have to read the books and apply it practically here and now. Because if the Bible and the Quran don't apply here and now, there's actually no sense in reading. What the hell is you reading just a history book for? And you can't apply it right now. This whole world is governed by the Bible and the Quran right now. Where you think the Illinois Right of Publicity Act came from? The right to use your name, likeness, image, voice, and signature in commerce. It came from the children of Israel, the 13 U.S. colonies. Remember, their daddy Jacob used the Israel. His brother Esau sold him his birthright for a morsel of bread. That's what you're doing with their birth certificate system. You're selling them your birthright for a morsel of bread. using a birth certificate system. Just like Jacob did. He had to dress up like Esau, be furry, he had to smell like him, he had to sound like him, all that. He took Esau's right of publicity for a morsel of bread. And the 13 children of Israel, the 13 U.S. colonies, are still doing that today. All everybody got to do is stop signing the birth certificate. It's not mandatory. You do it because you want to do it. But you don't know the implication. You don't know what you're doing, but I'm telling you what you're doing. But I'll come back and talk to y'all later because I'm actually tired of talking to y'all right now. Peace.